Hi, I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Charlene. Welcome to Empowered, Life Lessons of Everyday Women.
Each episode, you're going to meet an amazing woman who has struggled through challenges both in her home life and work life and has become very successful. Meet Jenna. Be compassionate and give yourself grace. With over 20 years as a massage therapist, Jenna takes a holistic approach. Early in her career, she founded Therapeutic Massage and Wellness in Connecticut and now has 2 locations. Her focus on learning and innovation has made her incredibly successful. So, grab a cup of coffee, get in a comfy chair, and let's talk to Jenna. Welcome, Jenna.
Hi, guys.
Thank you for joining us today. If you had the chance to go back and talk to your 20-year-old self and give her some advice, what would that be?
Oh, man. If I could talk to that 20-year-old me, I would tell the 20-year-old me to be compassionate and have more grace with myself and to realize that there's 2 wings to the bird. And the one wing is my high performer, and the other wing is my joyful and expansive and loving me. And it takes 2 wings to fly. And to entrepreneurship, it comes with a lot. So really just nothing to fix, but just really feeling into being both.
I like that. 2 wings of a bird. I've never heard it put that way, but I really like that analogy. That's helpful. What made you decide to become a massage therapist?
I was at a university and I wasn't passionate about anything I was learning about. I was taking all my gen eds and I moved to Florida with 4 boys from my childhood. And I was trying to figure it out. And a woman said, what about going to massage, like a massage school? So I found this massage school that had a joint massage and personal training. And I was like, ooh, that sounds exciting. So I registered for that and did a 2-year associate's program. And I realized very quickly that that was my passion, is serving at that level, to be able to put my hands on somebody and help them.
I like that. So you became an entrepreneur very early in your career.
Right away.
You the courage to jump out and do that on your own. I mean, at such a young age, that's really impressive.
Thank you. I just got opportunities and, somebody said, hey, why don't you try this chiropractor's office? And I went in there and I was like, well, how about instead of working for you, maybe I could just give you commission off of what I'm already doing. And that kind of started the spark and the curiosity of what is possible, just advocating for ideas and things that felt good to me. And having my own boss being myself felt really good. And it all started with just an idea of what could that look like.
So how do you go about identifying what you can do, what you should focus on, what you're good at versus what things that you may need either someone else to do or what you need to learn to do better for yourself? Do you have a trick to help you identify that?
Rebecca, that's a really great question. And I can tell you that coming from full experience of that, I was renting space inside a chiropractor's office and I was burning out. I was 40 hours a week and I was booked out for months. And, just listening to myself, what can I do in these moments to take the load off of the scheduling and, the behind the scenes things that was just more difficult for me to keep up with everything. And I ended up hiring a front desk person that was already working for this chiropractor and said to him, hey, why don't we split her? I'll pay half, you pay half. And that way she can help me. She can help you, takes the load off of you as well. And so I think it just came from, again, being curious on what's possible to make my life easier and do the things that I didn't like to do so that I could focus on the things I did love to do.
So I love this. So you've mentioned this twice, right? Where you looked at your situation and you became very creative of how can I make a change with the things that are around me to improve
Yes.
your life, between, getting your own clients to having the scheduling. That's really remarkable. That's awesome.
Jenna, I know you are constantly learning. That's one of your things. And I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
key to your business success as well, even just in watching your business grow over the years. How does learning fit into your business and how does it fit into your long-term goals?
I had taken a course just to help one person. And the way that I look at it is just staying in my integrity and serving at a high level. So if I knew that I could go take a course, increase my knowledge, and to help that one person, the intention of helping, I knew I would be taken care of. I knew that as long as I stayed in my intentions and my integrity, that everything else would follow.
I know that you stand behind that, having been one of your clients at a long
Hmm.
time ago. I know the answer to this question, but have you mentored others?
Oh, yeah. I've had about 100 employees, team members to date. And every massage therapist that comes on board, we do a training. So I hired a new massage therapist that started actually this Wednesday, yesterday, and he's 4 months out of school. And I don't always hire someone that's right out of school, but because this person had a really good heart, could feel his intention. I can feel how much he wanted to be better, how much he wanted to grow. And I mentioned to him yesterday, I said, listen, I will support you. I will help fill your cup. And the things that you are looking to improve on, I take it actually personal that my job is if you fail, it's our failure. But if you succeed, it's your success. And I learned that from a guy named Nick Khan, who is the president of WWE. And when I heard him say that, it just fully landed for me that being a mentor and a leader requires to look at myself first. And so this specific massage therapist, speaking to him just yesterday, letting him know, like, hey, even if you only stay here for a short period, if I've added value for you, I know that will ripple.
So you're not afraid of losing employees because one of the things Rebecca and I talked about before this interview was, in certain industries, you train somebody and then they leave you
Sure.
and then they can become your competition.
Sure.
So how do you keep people happy so that you retain them, or what's your intention with that?
I think there's two sides of it. I've had it happen plenty of times. First one really stings,
I bet.
really stings. And again, going back to the intention, if I am pouring into somebody, I'm not expecting that they now owe me.
Okay.
I'm doing it for the reasons of the ripple. If I'm pouring and I know that I can take any knowledge and all the courses I've taken and I can provide more value, more information to that team member, and they can go out, whether it's in my place or in their own place or in another place, and that ripples, that for me is the win.
That's great.
Wow. That's really powerful. That's really powerful. I like that.
It's part of who you are, I think. It's a
Sure.
reflection of you and how much you care about the people that you're working with and the understanding of how you're helping them
Right.
in a different
Sure.
way, not just training them in whatever massage therapy techniques you want them to use, but your heart is involved.
Right. That's the philosophy of, you give a little bit back and you get more back in return.
Yeah.
And that's really
Sure.
what you're talking about.
It's empowerment. It's empowering people to see what's possible and to have somebody believe in them and to know that it's not at a cost or at a tally. Because I did this, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. It's the intention there is I already know that if I stay in my integrity, it will come back and ripple for me.
Well, it's kind of part of the networking, right? You're not anticipating getting your back scratched, but you've built a strong network and they can trust you and you can trust them. And that speaks for itself. It really does.
So I know you have multiple locations. which is
hmm
a challenge on its own. What has been the biggest challenge you've had in having those multiple locations?
I think the biggest thing that I have found is the balance between pouring into both and not leaving one hanging while going to the other. And that just again goes back to that question you guys asked about, doing the things that I don't like to do and hiring those people. I have a manager that's been with me for 9 years and she cares so much. And she's an extension of me. The way she treats people, the way she treats clients. I have a motto with my team is we care so much about how people feel when they walk in and we give that experience. Well, that doesn't just end with the clients. That needs to also begin with the team. And if we can balance that where everyone is feeling seen, then you're creating a happier environment, a more empowered environment. And that ripple is going to create more for everyone to feel more seen.
And your clients will benefit from that for sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, having the right staff is really important. And I will tell you that I attract experienced creators. That is like one of the things that I've noticed, especially with all the inner work that I've done, that these people are coming because I'm attracting those kind people that want to serve, want to create experiences. And the sales side of it will come. It will come by creating an experience instead of focusing on the numbers.
And it's the word of mouth, right? I'm sure you have an awful lot of word of mouth.
Yes.
You get a good massage therapist and somebody who's truly listening and not just doing the same thing every single time. You're going to go back to that person 100% of the time and hope that they don't move away.
Exactly. What a gift for me to say is I want every single person that walks in to feel like they're the only person that's ever been there.
What's really interesting is I went to a different massage therapist this summer. I was having some issues. I was in Canada and I was going to this massage therapist, just trained in all kinds of things. And she said to me at the end, I said, her name happens to be Jen. And I said to her at the end, I said, Jen, you're like incredible. I mean, honestly, compared to you, she's the only one I've ever found that's like got that intuitive sense. And she said, I'm a healer. I'm not a massage therapist. I'm a healer. And she was.
So
I love that.
Many businesses have procedures and processes and whatnot, and you've got 2 locations.
Sure.
How do you go about developing your operating procedures to make sure that things are consistent across both businesses?
Everything about scaling is keeping it simple. So we are in the process right now, actually revamping everything. So my business model was all about the personal touches. And when I first started this business, my personal touches were, especially at the new location, were a little excessive. Comfort menus and, you go to a hotel and like there's a pillow menu. Well, I was like, I want to replicate what that feels like. Again, it's the experience, right? But what I realized very quickly, only because we grew so rapidly, that it was hard to teach, it was hard to replicate, it was hard to, have my team feel supported that they could land what was needed for that system. That now changing everything into more simple with still the personal touch, that way it can scale, has been a huge success. Yeah, very important.
So how do you go about retaining your employees?
So most of my massage therapists, I've had the staff I have right now, most of them been there for at least 3 years. And my front desk, I have my management team that's been with me for a long time. Front desk is kind of a come and go. But again, I think the key is to feel seen, to feel empowered. I take everyone's strength and I amplify. So anyone that works for me, I am looking to support them in what is the things that you love to do? What are the things that you don't love to do? And if I can create opportunity for them, that is one of my favorite things to do, is to support them on their games so that they feel and have that opportunity within therapeutic massage and wellness too.
So, do you have a specific method of like when you with your employees or your massage therapist, do you have a specific method of massage that your therapists need to follow? And how do you ensure these methods are followed?
So I have training guides for everything, from videos to, everything's protocoled. But also what's important is once they that room and that door closes, they have to confidently be able to do what they know. So I give them a structure, I give them a plan, but I also give them the flexibility that their hands are their own hands. And I don't want their hands to be my hands. I want their hands to be their hands. So as long as I create a structure and a standard, so whatever our standard is, for example, we add a lot of plus ones, I call them. So a heated neck pillow when you're face up, a little peppermint sinus soother when you're face down when you breathe. All these little things that are just part of the experience will hit the standards of TMW, but also people want to see them. They don't want to see just me because I do what I do. You fall in love with your massage therapist because of how they make you feel and you build that rapport. So it's extremely important on that side of it that they are just who they are. And on the management side, my leadership group, I tell them, I don't want you to be me. Find your leadership style, what feels good to you, because if you try to mimic me, it's not going to feel good.
No, it's
Well,
going to be forced.
it's not authentic.
Exactly.
Correct.
Exactly.
And people feel authenticity for sure. They know and they understand you can read anybody in a room when they're not being authentic, or maybe they're the light in the room, but then you're actually watching them in action and you can see with the body language and the lack of, let's say, listening, that they're not
Exactly.
being authentic.
Or they're not engaged as much as you want them to be.
I see right through that.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
What comes to mind too is it's like going to a hotel, right? You go to a hotel, you get a massage. It's going to be a lot different than if you go to a mom and pop shop.
Right.
And the reason for that, it's a revolving door, right? But at a mom and pop, you're building the experience and the clientele, and they will feel that it's just this was the routine instead of this is specific for this person.
There are a lot of different situations that I can understand a therapist might get involved with, right? Where the therapist may feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a process in place for your therapists if they get into a situation where they're no longer comfortable with that client?
Yeah, absolutely. If a therapist feels uncomfortable, and it does happen, I'll give you a little example. It happened just last week. The man was talking about wanting the massage therapist to pull his ears and give a scalp massage and to go a little bit harder on the scalp. Now, it's not that that is necessarily going to give a red flag, but it's a yellow flag. But when I speak to my therapist and I ask them, well, how did you feel in that room? What was the exchange like for you? What did you feel in your body with that person? Because our body is going to keep the score. The mind plays the game, the body keeps the score. So if that therapist feels uncomfortable, we have a policy. They leave the room immediately. They go get a manager. The session is over and there's no questions asked. They never have to see that person again. I'll make the phone call myself. But if they feel uncomfortable, it's right away. They leave the room.
That must make them feel very comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So, how have you used networking opportunities to help expand your business other than word of mouth? What kind of networking have you done to expand your business?
I'm 21 years as a massage therapist, and I'm 10 years into the businesses with having multiple team members. And for the first, I would say 7 years, I said yes a lot. So galas, and I'm a member still at the country club and creating connections with people. And there's so much opportunity. And I don't do as many galas now because I'm a little bit more of a homebody, but I do believe that just building connections, getting yourself out there, linking up with other business owners, those are really great ways to continue to build.
So running a business is a 24-hour job. There's no doubt
Mm.
about that. And you've got 2 different locations. So now we've added another 10 hours to that 24. How are you able to find any work-life balance?
This is such a great question because for the last 10 years, I had no balance. And I do not recommend this. I learned the hard way. But what came up for me is I never had a plan. I just went with the flow. I didn't have goals that were, I want this location by this time. I want to make this much money. I had opportunities that came my way, and if it was a full body yes, I said yes. If it wasn't a full body yes, it was a no. And no matter what, I would show up if I could show up. So when I was coaching 4 soccer teams, massaging 30 massages a week, running the business, working at WWE, I still would show up. And I have a really funny story that I think just sums it all up is I remember being on the soccer field, and it was a Saturday, and my best friend in Florida was getting married. And I said to my parents, hey, would you guys drive me to the airport and then someone take my car? I have to be at the wedding by 7 p.m. and I have to be back on this field in Scarsdale by 11 a.m.
Oh, no.
And I went to the airport in my soccer clothes, changed in the airport, put my dress on, got to the wedding, saw her walk down the aisle, woke up at 6 a.m., caught a flight, and I was in Scarsdale for an 11 o'clock a.m. game. And those are the things that I did. And I had this commitment inside of me that I didn't know how to say no when I was committed. And as I have gotten older, and especially in the last year, the priority has become shifting more towards me and my peace, and realizing that was really exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you, Jenna, you're a type A plus personality.
Mhm.
And, I'm not saying a perfectionist, but you had a vision, and your vision you were determined, is what I would say a good word, very determined to make that vision come to light.
But when you are that focus, you lose perspective. You lose your ability to find that balance. And it's really important to try to figure out, how do you take that step back to understand that you need to breathe.
And I think that goes back to my high performer as my one wing, and the loving, expansive, joyful woman on the other wing. And I don't have to choose. I'm both.
So you figured out your balance. You figured out that bird with 2 wings has to fly. And in order for it to fly successfully and be at its best, both have to be in action.
Yeah. I mean, the goal is peace for me.
Yeah.
So how do I get to peace? Is that balance, and not try to fix the high performer. I love the high performer in me. It's what has got me my dream life.
Yeah,
But
your
now,
success is based on that. Yeah, absolutely.
exactly.
So we always like to share with our listeners, and this is a question that we always ask as well, but what has been your biggest life lesson, if you could share with our listeners?
My biggest life lesson, to fall in love with myself.
Love yourself.
To really, really love yourself, because when you love yourself, you have forgiveness, you have compassion, you have acceptance, and you're not trying to fix yourself. You're remembering who you are and knowing that the more love that I have within me, the more I'm rippling that, instead of focusing on the things I don't like about myself.
Right.
And so loving myself has been the greatest gift I could ever give to myself.
I think too many people focus on the negative part. They focus on what they don't like.
And I think in today's world, especially with social media and TikTok and all of the things, everybody's constantly comparing themselves to what is beauty? What does this look like? One of the things that I have looked at social media and said I really don't like that is when somebody posts and everything is always happy.
Oh.
Because that's just not reality. But it's also like you're trying to reflect the world.
It's perfect.
Everything is perfect. And the reality is we're not perfect. But we have
No.
the acceptance of loving ourselves is a really, really hard thing, I think, especially in today's world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, being able to take that step back and to pour back in and to accept the parts of me that I used to shame. And I laugh about it now because I used to have a hard time remembering things. So if I was, doing research, which was all the time, and I wanted to remember something for this specific client, and I'd be trying to memorize and keep going back. And I'd be annoyed at myself. I'd be like, how can I not do this? How can I not remember this? And then the flip side is, well, yeah, I might not be able to remember that, but I have 2 locations. I have 25, 30 employees, and like I'm doing okay.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Well,
you
there's
you
probably
take the
things
flip.
in your brain that you're remembering that you don't really need to remember anymore. But there's other things, your brain only has so much space, is the way I look
And
at it, right? I mean,
yeah.
it could be full and maybe have to take out a few files in order to make sure you've got more room.
And you know what, Rebecca, just literally like I can write it down. I'll write it down and bring it in.
As a type A plus plus personality myself, my phone is my friend and my calendar. If I need to remember something, I just put it in there.
Yep.
And then I give myself an alert and then I can forget it. So there are ways to manage that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. This has been super, super enjoyable. I'm so glad that you joined us today. And yeah,
Thank you
thanks,
so
Jenna.
much. Lots of little
Guys,
tidbits.
thank you. This was really enjoyable. I appreciate this so much and looking forward to connecting.
All right. Good enough. Thank you so much.
To our listeners, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Empowered Life Lessons of Everyday Women. We would really appreciate if you could leave us a rating or a review. If you have any challenges or questions you are facing, we want to hear from you as we value your input and suggestions. And if you have a compelling story or life lesson you would like to share, please connect with us at empoweredlifelessons@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, other social media platforms, or visit us at empoweredlifelessons.com. In our next episode, meet Ruffin, who raised her hand to take on challenges, expanding her experience and knowledge, leading her to a successful career in customer support.